So we've beaten Kaneshiro.
Yes.
We've got another new party member, Makoto.
So who wants to get
And
another party member?
me. I do.
I do as well. Considering the fact that I still think she's probably the best party member in the game. Not
And
not
it's
not even like I'm not even talking waifu bait here. I'm just saying I think she's the best because she's a very good support. Especially at times when you don't even think she'd pop in, she would pop in for support. Thank God I had her for the very final boss fight because it made it really good.
and of course we're talking about the one, the only
Ali
Ali.
baby.
Yeah, Ali baby.
Ali baby. Ali Baba.
So so after you beat Kaneshiro, you end up discovering this group on the internet, this hacking group. Medjed is threatening you, basically saying like, "Hey, if the Phantom Thieves don't make themselves known, and don't actually do something against us,
We
because
will we will expose them for who they
yeah,
really are.
oh no, they're threatening to because they don't know who the Phantom Thieves are. They're threatening
Oh, I
to
thought they knew who it was.
no, they're threatening to target Tokyo ATMs, banks, and shit. Just
Oh shit. Yeah.
killing,
Yeah.
stealing everybody's money.
I remember that.
So obviously you need to stop them, but
How?
how are you? Yeah, I mean, how are
Because
you
you don't
supposed
have
to
a
stop?
face to a
Med-
target.
yeah, Medjed is an entire group
Yes, and you get
of
this
autonomous
contact.
hackers.
You basically get contacted like this through the fan site, though, don't you?
Uh, I, it could be through the fan
This
site, or
comes either naturally
it
through
could
story or the fan site.
it could straight up just be on the TV because around the time of Madarame, that's when the Phantom Thieves are starting to get picked up and be like, oh hey yeah, and when Kaneshiro gets arrested and confesses his crimes, that's when everybody's starting to be like, oh yeah.
Fan these are cool.
Yeah, so that's when the Phantom Thieves start to get, you know, more notoriety.
Yeah,
So I think it actually comes into a report on the news station that Medjed has declared war on the Phantom.
yeah.
And obviously, you
There's
don't know
there's
you
no
don't
way
know
to
how to
really
do
do
that,
anything about it. Yeah. So
but you
in
do
the
get
meantime, while you're trying to contemplate how to do it, though, you're
you
sitting
get
at
an
your hideout and you get a text message from a person called Ali Baba, who we're gonna call Ali Baby.
yeah, Allie Baby, and Allie Baby knows who you are. They know you're the Phantom Thieves.
And they know
How
you're
they
the righteous Joker.
yeah how they know that, I'm not sure, but they want you to change somebody's heart. And unfortunately for Ali Baby, they don't quite understand what you need to do to change somebody's heart.
Yeah, at first Ali Baby was being super vague about what they wanted. So
Yeah,
it wasn't
Ali
even
Baby.
clear how to do what she wanted just for the
Yeah,
fact that she didn't, I guess, know how to talk to people. Because that's how it
yeah,
actually ends up looking like.
yeah. Ali Baby was literally just like, "Hey, why aren't you acting? I told you I need somebody's heart change." And eventually, it gets to the point like, we need a name." And it's like, "Why do you need a name? It's just how we operate, okay? Okay, fine. Here's the name, Futaba Sakura." And then you think to yourself, Doc. Not only do you think to yourself, but the game thinks to itself, Sakura. Wait a minute,
That's
that's Sojiro's
Sojiro's last
last name.
name. Oh my god.
Could there be a connection?
And then you ask Sojiro and he gets in your face like, you shut the fuck up now, you little piece of shit. Don't ever ask that around here again or I'll
How,
kill you.
how do you know about that? I'm not confirming anything. But then prosecutor Sai Nijima, Makoto Nijima's older sister, comes into LeBlanc, and you just happen to come in with no planning whatsoever about it. You happen to come in and you overhear uh,
The
You
words Futaba
overhear,
Sakura come out of Sai's stupid adult mouth
and also she kind of threatens Sojiro
with legal actions.
with legal action, and then you're like, okay, we got to get to the bottom of this because I don't think Sojiro is the kind of guy to like abuse his daughter.
He can't be a bad guy, Mason.
Well, no, he
He
can't because
can't be
he's
a
not.
bad guy because he's taking care of us. How are we going to take care of
Yeah,
ourselves if we don't have someone to take care of us?
yeah. So eventually, you guys get the bright idea to just break into Sojiro's house because you figure out that Ali Baby is actually Futaba herself.
Yes. And
She,
upon
well,
this comes the weirdest moment in the game where I'm like, somehow I don't know how Makoto could or could not have been the main love interest because it sure shows here.
yeah, every Persona game has maybe that one moment where it's like, this is the one we really want you to go after.
Except 4. 4 was like, we're going to shove this in your face and you're going to like it.
Yeah, and I didn't like it, by
I
the
know
way.
you don't like it, but I like it.
I don't hate Rise, but like,
I love
goddamn,
Rise.
man,
She's so adorable.
you, you're literally just shoving this down my throat. Like
I will
you're
say
trying
this
to tell me
though.
I don't have a choice.
Kasumi says the word senpai 800 more times than Rise says it.
Yeah, but she's cuter about it.
Uh,
Laura. Look, I love Laura Bailey as a voice actress, and that's all I'll say
but did it
because
ever once occur to her to shut the fuck up from saying senpai one more time?
Laura Bailey's not
I
um
I know.
Yeah, she's Rise.
I know I'm being facetious.
Okay, I was just
I
making
thought you were
sure.
talking about Rise anyways.
I was talking about Rise.
Why did Kasumi come up there?
I don't know why Kasumi went up there.
God, that's still the one thing I still can't stand about her. Otherwise, she's fine.
Look, I'll admit she does say senpai a lot, but I didn't think it was that annoying.
I think the only
Most,
reason I think you think Rise is annoying with the senpai thing is because of Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Because that's like every word out of her mouth. They really want her to say that a lot.
I thought she was annoying in Persona 4.
I
I
would,
thought she was
I would,
annoying when I actually played the game.
I thought you would think she's more annoying in Arena because that's like every time she wins a match, especially, she's like senpai, 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 senpai.
I mean, there's also that really didn't help the character. Like, we get it. You like Narukami. Can you shut the fuck up about him, please?
But that's the one time though where it's so obvious that I would personally think that the main crush for the main character to have been more obvious than in 5, but I still think 5 does it a little more subtly though than 4.
Five does it a little more. Vanilla Five does it a little more subtly because again, there's just the one scene that really tells you that. Yeah, Makoto's kind of the one that we're like, yeah, we're nudge nudge, go over to Makoto, please.
Now, granted, I don't care
But
too much for Makoto, I said earlier, but I still think that she probably is the actual main one that Mamma Mia probably wants and would
well,
probably actually
I
have went
think
with.
I think Royal, I think Royal, despite the love I have for the character, I think Royal has a Rise problem with Kasumi.
Oh yeah, I now that
I
you say that,
find,
I do think that, but we'll have to get to that way later
yeah,
because that's actually going into social link with her
yeah.
for the most part.
So, but
Back to
you break
Futaba.
you break into Sojiro's house, and then the power goes out, and then
And
Makoto and
Makoto
Futaba.
like wets her vagina and grabs a hold of your
Oh my
legs and your
god!
dick at the
Oh,
same time, and
oh
she's
my
like, "Help
god!
me, please!" And she starts
Yeah,
crying, and it's all cute and stuff, and it's like, Please
I
stop.
mean, it honestly is kind of a cute scene.
It is, but even then, it's just like, please, you punch a fucking dude sitting on a toilet in his nutsack. Why are you afraid of this?
Well, she's a kid, remember?
But yet she's not afraid to punch Belphegor in the nutsack while he's sitting on the toilet.
Maybe real life scares her more than metaverse.
Man, that's where I'm like, man, these kids are kind of fucked.
So ultimately, Futaba can't understand why you're not able to change her heart, and you need to figure out. You end up, because she came to you specifically. You kind of let her in on the whole thing, and you're like, "Look, we can't do anything about it until we discover what your palace is and what you view this place as."
Yeah.
And we end up finding out she views Sojiro Sakura's house, which is her palace, is Sojiro's house. She views it as her tomb, and it is honestly very sad
Yes.
because um, should we get into this now or wait a little bit until near the end of the palace?
Um, what do you mean? Try to
Her
clarify if possible.
The sad part, Futaba, why Futaba thinks it's her tomb.
Oh. I guess we can go to explain it now.
So Futaba saw her mother die right in front of her eyes.
Yes, she got ran over by a car.
Yes, and the adults at her I guess her like will reading, I would assume. I don't think it was
Basically,
ever properly explained what was going on at that particular time. I would assume it was at
the
what.
the guys in the black suits basically said it's Futaba's fault that her mom jumped in front of a car and decided to
Yeah,
kill
and
herself.
like you think about this not just in a fictional video game world where again it's fictional, and you think about that in the real world and you think, who the fuck would say that to a kid?
Yeah, no
I don't
shit.
I don't care if you're the biggest child hating motherfucker in the world. This kid who's probably at this point what?
I think she was. I think it's not.
She
It's
was a
not
kid.
implied on
She
the
was a
age, but I think she was 12 or maybe 10.
Yeah, and plus she was also kind of socially awkward. So
Not only that,
sh
but I think at this point in the story, she is 16 or 17.
I think she's either 15 or 16.
I think
She's
she's
not
six.
17. She's
She's
not 17.
most
Is
likely
that
16. Then I would say
No, I think she's 15 because she's going to start her first year of high school.
that's a
I
spoiler,
believe.
you fucker.
Yes, a very minor spoiler. I apologize. I believe she's 15 because Joker and Ryuji and Yusuke are 16 and the third years are 7.
It didn't even say what year she was. Matter of fact, when she ended up going anyway, since we've already talked about it, we might as well talk about it in length. It doesn't say what
Yeah,
year she is, anyways. So that could help us clarify a hair more, but I'm pretty sure she's 16.
to the wiki I go.
That I'm sure it won't give you a definitive age there either.
It more than likely will. I
Because
guarantee
whenever
it.
every time I see someone arguing, because it seems like the main two arguments for who's the best girl in Persona 5, and everyone's either saying Makoto or Futaba. Those are the main two that I always see argued. And everyone that argues Makoto is, well, Futaba's the little sister, and I'm like, you make it sound like she's 10.
Okay. First of all, the wiki actually gives a definitive date of birth.
Really?
Yeah. So around this time, this is what, June, July.
Something like that. It's in the summer.
Yeah, she's 15.
Really?
Around at this point in time in the game, she's 15 because her birthday is February 15th, circa 2001. So she's 15 years old, and so this might again we'll just assume and we'll just say 10 years old. 10 years old.
Yeah.
Who's who's who who the fuck says, oh, it's your fault that your mother died? You're the reason. You killed your mother. You're the reason that your mom collapsed and died and got ran over by a car.
Yeah.
Who says that?
Very, very shitty adults.
It's it is something that, like, I get it. Again, I get it. It's fiction. It's a video game. But that in particular is something that really did kind of upset me when I started thinking more about it. I'm like, what the fuck?
I know. It does suck though. And it kind of gets worse from there. Um
She ends up getting
the further
extremely,
you get in her palace, uh
the more
the
the
worse she ends up getting.
yeah.
However, the worse that it gets is if you don't complete her assignment, her palace.
I have never done that, and I
I've
really
never failed on the
about that.
dates ever in any of the Persona games that I've
I
played, but
I don't even want to look it up, honestly.
the English one, I don't even honestly remember what happens in the English one. I just remember the Japanese one because it's the worst. In the Japanese one, she will commit suicide if you don't complete it in time,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's some
that
dark shit. It,
yeah.
I don't remember what it is in the English version though. Let me see what it
You know what?
is.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same thing.
It's not though. They changed the translation to it. Whoops.
I can understand because, like, a kid committing suicide, that's a little dark for the USA, for the Western audience.
If you fail Futaba's palace, it's heavily implied that she commits suicide as she can't take the pain anymore. You get arrested thanks to the fake midget and on suspicion on being a phantom thief, and Sojiro is arrested as an accomplice.
Wow, that's terrible.
Yeah, so
That
it's
is
it's like the
awful.
worst of the worst
That
happens.
is, I didn't even do it, and that makes me feel awful. Fuck.
I don't really want to have the fail state anyways, but I'm always interested to see what it is just reading about it. Because reading about it, it's impactful, but having it
That
happen
one,
on screen, especially that one, it's like, ooh, that's a
I would
little
honestly,
sad.
like, if that kind of thing honestly happened to me, whether on purpose or accident, I would probably cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't even dispute that.
Now I can maybe see you having the fail state for a palace at the end date if you're playing on a very harder difficulty like Merciless, but
The only one that I genuinely thought about doing a fail state for was the very final one in Royal. I
oh
didn't
yeah.
do it. I didn't do it, but I thought about doing it. I was like, I wonder what happens, and then I'm like, nah, I've gone too far. I got to keep going.
Yeah.
Um,
But I guess back to
so
Futaba.
yeah,
So basically,
Futaba.
basically Futaba through the whole palace is a mess, but at
Yeah,
first everything's fine.
yeah. Her shadow's actually welcoming for once.
Yeah, at first
Her shadow's
you're not even
there.
seen as a threat from her as her shadow, from her
Yeah,
shadow by her shadow.
yeah. Her shadow's just like, welcome.
Welcome you
Now,
fucks. Now get out,
yeah,
pillage.
but if you can find this thing that was stolen from this pyramid in the village, I will help you out. And she didn't really help, actually. She tried to kill
Yeah, she
us.
tried to kill you.
But
And
uh,
I remember the item you bring back. It's a pineapple. It's a fucking pineapple.
obviously, a pineapple of vital
Even
importance.
Ryuji's like, why the fuck do we have to bring this back?
A vitally important pineapple, obviously.
Yes.
Maybe we'll find out who lives under the sea.
But progressing into the palace, this one is, I'd say this one probably has one of my favorite uh, jazzy tunes in the game for sure.
The days when my mother was,
Yes, Days when Mother was
and
there.
just the name of that song is just like you listen to the song and it's a little sad sounding, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I mean, I guess it makes sense considering Futaba and the palace. And then you realize the name of the song is "The Days When My Mother Was There," and then you're like, oh,
Which would make sense because the palace is all about her mother and her, of
yeah,
course. But
yeah.
it's mostly about like her mother for the most part.
But out in the real world, uh, throughout the palace, she's just getting worse, and it's kind of heart wrenching to see because she suffers through auditory hallucination.
Oh yeah,
She'll yeah
kind of
she'll
like a
constantly
schizophrenic, basically.
she'll constantly just hear, and
Voices,
it
basically.
it's even worse because like she can just be sitting at her computer because she is what I believe in Japan they would call it a NEET. I don't remember what that stands for.
Shut in.
Yeah, a shut, basically a shut in. And she can be just typing away at her computer. And in fact, this is how it happens in one scene. She goes, and she's working, and then she's like, oh no, it's
And
happening again.
then the voices come in.
Yeah, and it's like, you killed her.
It's
It's just like
it's pretty
it
bad.
makes me sad. It really does make me sad.
Yeah, her palace is. That's why I said I think her palace is where the game changes completely, 100% where the
Yeah,
game finally starts to pick up because you're hitting heavy. Like Shiho was probably the most heaviest thing. I
Shiho
don't think
was
the other two were nearly as heavy as Kamoshida's was for the most part, just
no,
because of Shiho.
no, they weren't. But really, it goes from we need to stop uh, criminals and shitty adults to Palace 4 just turns out we need to save somebody's life,
Yep.
and it's just like oh, excuse me.
But yeah, basically, going through Futaba's palace, it's got a lot of intricate puzzles with it. Um, I guess we can go ahead and start actually discussing the palace now, since we've done the whole
Yeah,
go to the town and
it's
get the pineapple.
yeah, it's a pretty good it's just a really big pyramid with lots of different doors and lots of different rooms.
Yeah, and lots of traps too.
Yeah, lots of traps. Um, I think this in vanilla is if you were able to get past Madarame, I think this palace is where the difficulty spikes up.
Yeah, I remember in Vanilla, this is actually the first palace I died in. Matter of fact, I think it was to the angel persona.
And I think that I would say that considering how easy Royal felt throughout the entire thing, I would say that this palace in Royal was also where the difficulty amped up a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say it was as hard as Vanilla was, but
I would definitely say that Royal was easy, but even then, like, I didn't feel the difficulty for this palace as much, but I was
it was
aware
definitely
because of how
there.
much I died the first set of times. Because I think I died maybe once or twice in my or my original run in vanilla. Just to
Yeah,
Angel, I'm pretty sure it was the persona where her eyes are covered up and her tits and like vagina or whatever are all covered in tape.
yeah, that's Angel.
Because she kept using Mudoon, and I was stupid enough to not use a persona that blocked curse.
Why the fuck would Angel know
Maybe it
Mudon?
wasn't that one. Maybe it was the blessed instant kill.
Yeah, Angel would know Hamon.
Yeah, Hamon. So I never had any persona that blocked bless
But
because I was a
regardless,
dumbass.
regardless of whatever instant kill spell Angel knew, um, I feel like for me personally, Futaba's Palace is where I remembered again the difficulty ramped up, so I started being a little bit more careful going through the game, going through Royal. I'm like, I just don't want to get caught off guard by anything again. I'm gonna take my time. I'm going to, try to figure everything out. Make sure that I'm not just going gung ho crazy. Because again, Persona 5 Royal was easier than Vanilla. Is it because we played Persona 5 before playing Royal?
Probably.
More than likely, yeah.
Not only
But
that, but we've both also played. We've had well, you've played both versions of four, but then again, four
I
golden
haven't,
you came after Royal.
dude,
You
dude,
played
I
after Royal.
only, dude, I haven't even finished Gold. I haven't even gotten past the first dungeon of Golden.
Oh, I thought you said you beat it.
No, no, I've beaten Vanilla 4.
I knew
I
that.
started,
You beat
I
that ages
started
ago.
up Gold. I started up Golden, and I just haven't played it in a while. I have it on my Vita because this was before it got ported to PC.
Yeah.
Um, I've beaten 3, and I've beaten Persona 3 FES and Persona 4, Persona 5, and Persona 5 Royal. So I'm fairly versed in how modern Persona games go. So maybe that helped
Probably.
how easy Royal felt. But I mean, I'm not gonna say Royal is an easy game because
Especially if it's your first Persona game and you don't play it on easy or anything lower, you're probably going to be caught off guard quite often.
yeah, it's an at well, there were times where I'm sure you can say, and I know I can say, there were times even in Royal where we might have been caught off guard.
Sometimes.
I certainly did die a couple times. I started dying in Palace 5. Fuck that boss. I mean, you may not have died to him, but come on, you gotta admit that boss
I'm not
sucks.
saying I didn't struggle with him because I struggled with him.
I just gave up. I just grabbed Izanagi no Okami Picaro.
Anyways, but Futaba, they're
Yeah,
the main puzzles for this. The first one that comes into mind is obviously the what are those? They're like slider puzzles, kind of, where you take
yeah,
the image is preset, but you have to rotate the tiles to match how the image faces. And every time you
and
move the puzzle piece to the left or the right, the puzzle piece that was to that piece is already left or right, replaces where that piece was.
yeah. So it's a bit of a headache until you really figure out what's going on, and then you're like, oh, okay, I just moved this here, this.
Yeah, to be fair though, those puzzles to me, this is coming from someone who used to like to do like jigsaw puzzles, because that's kind of what these are to a degree. I've
Yeah.
always found them easy, just because you should
Oh, I
always
thought they
do
were.
like the outside of the puzzles first, then do the inside pieces. But I don't remember there being that many pieces to these, to where it could just be do the outside first. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The puzzle that I think of first is that stupid. Uh, it's kind of like when you're at the coffins, or what
Oh
look like the
yeah, you gotta
and you've
match
got
the 10010,
yeah the
and
binary puzzle, and
yeah,
I'm just
that
like,
wasn't too
oh
bad though. All you gotta do is just leave the ones on, and then the zeros turn them off.
yeah. Well, it took me a while to figure that out. I didn't remember. I didn't remember that. like I knew it was there, but I didn't remember the solution to that puzzle in uh, Vanilla Five. So I kept going through it, and I'm just like, fuck this guide. The only reason I look, I'm going to defend myself here. The only reason I used a guide in Royal is because I already went through most of this shit.
And
I
to be
feel,
fair though,
I feel,
I
I
beat
feel like I have the right.
I beat Futaba's Palace in P5 my last time, and I had just played it before playing Royal, like a week or so before playing, like before Royal even came out. So I
God
already
damn
had a little bit of the knowledge there, but even then, I didn't remember. I like the coffin puzzle never really came to mind. It was the moving piece puzzles that came to mind when I thought of her palace.
I guess it's because I had trouble with the binary puzzle. I was just like, yeah, this one's kind of ingrained in my memory.
Yeah. Uh, then
So
the other I guess I could quote unquote puzzles were those Anubis statues where you had to take the orbs and then put them in the corresponding statue at the end of the hallway, basically, and go through various enemies. But those aren't really puzzles, though. The only one that's a puzzle is just the one where you don't take the orb.
yeah, so
Otherwise,
suffice to say,
her palace is fairly straightforward for the most part,
which is ironic
and
considering
it's
you're
all
in a
it's actually longer
Egyptian.
than it seems too, because when you first enter the palace, you do see the entire way straight up to the treasure. Like, so it doesn't appear long because it's just a huge, like, the main, when you enter the pyramid, it's literally just a straight shot. Then you take an elevator up, then you go through like another extra bit, and then you're at the treasure. But
Yeah, but then Shadow Futaba decides to close the entire thing off to you.
yeah, so then you have to
So
just take the scenic route basically. So the
yeah,
palace does not look long until you finally start doing it. Then it's long.
so when you finally get to the end of the palace and you discover her treasure, like all times, you have to leave the palace and send the calling card. But it's a unique situation because this time you've been communicating firsthand with your target. So you have to deliver the card to Futaba and you have to specifically tell her, hey, we need you to read this. It won't work if you don't read this.
Yeah, make
We
sure you read it
need
for
you to
fuck's
read
sake.
it.
And then Morgana's like, I'll
Yeah.
stay behind. And then she reads it, and
Oh,
then he runs out of the room, and she's like, Kitty,
yeah.
you again, you little fucker. She
Yeah,
doesn't
no,
say that last part.
to be fair, that is funny though. Kitty, you again. That is pretty funny.
It is.
But
But for the most part, though, the dungeon itself, it's pretty straightforward for the most part. Though I didn't really have to go out of my way to find any of the will seeds either.
I wouldn't say I had to go out of my way for it. I had to do it on the last day because I missed one.
Like I said, the uh, the will seeds are pretty much in places where you couldn't get to in vanilla. Like you just use your grappling hook for probably 70 or 80% of them.
Yeah, like I said, I just missed one. I happened to miss a room, and I was like, so like I figured out because Morgana gives you that stupid fucking thing. Like, I mean, well, you can look for the will seeds if you want, but we really should be going up to fight the boss. Like,
They did that. I remember them specifically doing that in the last palace. I'm
oh,
like,
they did that. They did that in every like if you go in on the day of the calling card, Morgana will say like, so I see you're missing a will seed. I
oh
mean,
really? Because I never waited
yeah.
until the day I sent the calling card to get it, so I never noticed.
Well, like I said, I missed it, and
Yeah,
like I sent the calling card, and I'm like, shit, I didn't even notice that I missed it because Morgana gave me that warning. I'm like, oh fuck.
yeah. Just ignore the giant glowing skulls on the bottom left side of the map.
room, and I was like, I'm just going around the thing. I just missed a room, so I just went back to that room
Was
really
it the
quick,
room with the
grabbed it.
balls in it, the giant balls?
I think that was actually the room. Yeah,
Because I remember I didn't have to go out of my way, but I remember looking back in the room and I saw that and I'm like, can I go up there? And sure enough, I could, because you have to use your grappling hook to get up there.
yeah. I think that I'm pretty sure that was the one that I missed because I was just going on the balls, and I wasn't paying attention enough to my surroundings. And I was like, okay. So I went. So I looked up a quick guide real quick because I was on the last day. I was like, okay, I missed a will seed. Where did I miss
I
it?
think that
I
one
don't.
was the only one I think in the game Morgana doesn't even tell you about, because he tells you when your next one.
Yeah, I think that also helped me not figure it out.
Oh,
Oh, what?
oh. He just says
Oh,
oh every time. That's just his dumb generic
oh,
line. Oh.
oh, oh, yeah, yeah. God, I hate that laugh. So
Well, don't get the perma pick then.
Futaba, Futaba, Futaba's palace end on another subversion because up to this point you've been fighting the shadow version of your targets: Shadow Kamishita, Shadow Madarame, Shadow Kaneshiro.
Yep.
You don't fight Shadow Futaba. Shadow Futaba has nothing against you.
No.
Shadow Futaba is not trying to eliminate you. You have to fight
The harlot
the
version of her mother.
yeah, you have to fight what the cognitive world has created this false vision of her mother that has been implanted into Futaba's memories, that she was always angry and she blames her for her death and blah 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 blah.
And oh my god, does it love to say the word Futaba.
Futaba.
I mean, there is one point where I think it says it like 8 times in a row in the same text box.
I mean, I
And
think
it
that's
screams it
probably when
too. And
she's dying.
I think so, now that you say that. Like, I
So
just remember her doing that. I'm like, please stop. I ended up skipping the text box because by the time she said it the third time, I'm like, please stop.
so you actually are having a lot of trouble fighting her because she's flying up in the air and thus renders most of your attacks except for magic spells
And guns.
moot. Yeah, and guns
Man,
moot.
I wonder what would happen if we had the down shot by now. Would she just crash into the sand and the fight would just be over?
God, I don't even know,
Man,
honestly.
Joker would have some really good accuracy doing all those flips and shit and shooting accurately at her.
So you need some kind of help, and who better to help you in Futaba Sakura's palace than Futaba Sakura?
Exactly.
She enters her own palace
Even though
somehow.
she shouldn't.
I don't know how she did it.
She ended up getting the MetaNav app on her phone
Yeah, but how did she discover how to get into her palace?
because she used it. She used the app. She's like, Futaba Sakura, the Futaba Sakura at Sojiro's house, and tomb.
Oh, right, that is what happened. So she's able to just get in no problem whatsoever.
Hell yeah, but you shouldn't
And
do that because there's no
yeah,
telling what
you
could happen with your psyche if you're in there while
yeah.
shit's going down.
Luckily, she was okay.
Yes,
So she awakens to her persona, which isn't an attack persona. You don't actually use her on the
it's a
battlefield.
tentacle persona
It is a support persona. It is a giant fucking UFO,
with tentacles.
the Necronomicon.
They really wanted to show emphasis on the tentacles when they first showed it off. Oh my god, they
It's
wanted to show that off.
it's Japan. What were you expecting?
I know.
So Futaba uses her new persona powers to uh, create, I mean, to signal. Hold on.
She makes a ballista.
Yeah, she makes a ballista because she figures out, hey, this is my world. I can do whatever I want,
Hell yeah, it is.
and she uses her support to basically help you through the fight by telling you, hey, what can work, what can't work.
Yeah, and when attacks are coming that
When,
you can't see, like when the fucking
yeah.
beast flies upward in the air and it stays up there for like 10 turns in a row and you're just waiting for it to come
Now,
down.
now there is actually a up thing that I think during the fight, uh, monster Monster Wakaba, that's Futaba's mother's name.
Monster
Monster
Wakaba.
Wakaba. Yeah, yeah. Her full title, Monster Wakaba. She asks you something about, like, I'm just gonna like paraphrase, like, Futaba's not a good person or something along those lines. And you genuinely have the option to answer yes or no. And if you answer in agreement to her statement, that will actually affect the ballista, and it will take twice as long to
Really?
be able to use the ballista.
Why did how do
Be,
you know that? Did you actually do that?
no, I learned it on TV tropes.
Oh.
I think it was developers foresight
Mm. See, I did
because
not
it
know that cuz
affect
I answered the opposite of how she wanted, so.
because it affects her psyche, and
Oh
she's
yeah.
like, well, damn, that's what you really think of me.
God, that poor
So
child.
yeah, yeah, poor Futaba, and I mean that genuinely. She is the kind of character that you meet in almost every Persona game where you just want to give her a hug.
Who's the one
Like
in 3?
uh Maiko, the 10-year-old girl. Her parents are going through a divorce.
Oh, I
And
wouldn't know that character
you
cuz I don't think that character's in the main cast.
well, yeah, she's not in the main cast. She's one of your social links.
Exactly, so I wouldn't know.
But yeah, I mean, but yeah, like I said, like she's that kind of character where you just want to give her a hug and tell her everything's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
The same thing with Saki Konishi's brother. He's a fucking asshole at the start, but he's he's upset that his sister's dead.
My sister is dead.
Yeah, but I mean, like, he's an asshole about it, but you really can understand how it hurts, how hurt he really is. So I think he's that kind of character where you just want to give him a hug
I'm
and tell him
just
everything's all right.
I'm just thinking of that stupid High End Daisy dub.
I mean, it's the best. It's the best thing to ever come out of Persona 4.
It's the best dub.
But we don't want to side trip. We don't want to side with just constant quoting of the greatest comic in history.
No, I suppose not.
Maybe we can do that later.
Maybe.
So Futaba is able to help you take down her fake mother, her monster mother, and is able to come to terms with the fact that she was not the one responsible. And she actually is able to meet the spirit of her dead mother one more time in another heart wrenching scene that kind of makes you want to cry.
Yeah. Her
Because,
mother uses the Force
well,
and comes back.
she, she's straight. She straight up goes up to hug her, and talk about how much she missed her and how she wants her back.
And she's like, nah,
And
bitch, don't touch me.
yeah, no, her mother literally says, Futaba, you're being selfish.
Don't touch me.
No.
Don't touch me. Horrible shit might happen. Don't be selfish, child.
And that was Palace 4.
Oh, but
Futa
you didn't say what the treasure was.
I don't remember what the treasure
The
was.
treasure was Futaba herself.
Oh yeah. And you know what? Actually, yeah, Futaba was the treasure of that palace because her her new and improved self is treasure.
So,
But
since we've completed Futaba's palace, what
well, yeah,
happens? What happens after that, though?
Futaba falls into a deep coma.
It's not even like a coma. It's just more like a big sleep.
That's what a coma is.
But in a coma, you're probably not gonna wake up.
Some people wake up from comas.
Some people, not most people. I was about to say most people, but some people do. But
So Futaba's one of those some people.
she wasn't in a coma though.
Dude, dude, Drew, depending on how fast you finish that palace, she can be in a deep sleep for like 18 days.
Yeah.
18 days of pure sleeping. She doesn't wake up once. That's a coma.
Nah, dog.
Yes, Doug, that's a coma.
Nah, dog. Here's like, surely she got up at some point to piss.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I don't think I could lay in bed for 18 days straight without at least getting up to take a piss.
I don't know.
I'm aware you
The,
don't know.
the game just kept saying you have to wait for Futaba to recover and wake up.
So she's not in a
So,
coma, she's just asleep. So therefore, she's asleep, and we don't need to clarify on this anymore of what she's actually in because that part does not matter.
okay, fine. She's asleep for like 18 days. And so Sojiro's dumbass just sits there and he's like, "Oh yeah, this happens sometimes. She just exerted herself too much."
Yeah, thanks for your insert there, Lubu.
So with that, we've completed Palace 4 of the game, and I don't know if there's much else to really say
There is,
for
because we're
this
not going to remember
session.
that when we come back. So, what ends up happening is she sleeps for a bajillion days, and then she wakes up, and then they're like, yo, Medjed, dog. And she's like, oh, okay. And she does the thing and gets rid of Medjed.
You also find out she was the original Medjed.
Yes, and not only that, but when you find out that she's the original Medjed, she just kind of falls asleep again. And then after that,
And
she's like, yeah, the guy that was running that was just kind of an idiot.
all this techie stuff that I understand.
So at the end of the day, Medjed really wasn't like as big of a threat as they made it sound, even though the game implies if you lose against her palace, like you lose all the time, that Medjed gets you arrested, even though they're not really as hot shit as they make themselves sound.
Well, remember, I mean, they have to have some kind of they have to have some kind of bad ending if you're not able to do it.
I
So
know.
the bad ending is basically
The
I
bad
guess
ending should have just honestly, and as much as I hate to say it is, Futaba should just commit suicide. That should just be it. Then the Phantom Thieves can't continue because they can't shut down Medjed, and the Medjed gives them a bad reputation because the Phantom Thieves can live up to what they needed.
you know what that actually does sound fairly good. Not good as in like, oh yeah, that's great, but good as in like, that's pretty good storytelling.
Yeah, like they could have made it to where it still could have, because Futaba's literally like, yeah, that guy really wasn't shit. Like he was just stupid.
Well, I'm not sure if there's anything else to discuss in this session.
I don't
We've
think so, because after that they start going towards the next palace once they take care of the whole Medjed thing.
Yeah, and we're gonna
Well, I
save
guess we can still
Palace.
keep going about the school trip if you want. We have a lot of we have
What school trip?
they,
Wait.
they no, they don't take the school trip. They go to the beach after this. They're trying to help Futaba get more used to being out in
Oh,
public and around other people.
I mean, yeah, that's a cute scene, but there's not really much to really talk about. Yusuke buys crabs and
Yeah, and
lobsters.
then Futaba's like, "Yo, dog, give me those."
Yusuke is just not very smart with money.
Not really. He only really seems to buy art supplies or things that inspire him. Which, to
Yeah, and
be
then
fair, I
he
guess if you're an artist and things inspire you that easily, I guess that it kind
yeah,
of is a good use
but
of your
then he
money,
but then he complains about how he's not sure if he'll be able to eat.
or have somewhere to sleep.
Yeah, so that's his fault.
All of those memes of uh I literally was about to say Yakuza. Yusuke just
My favorite character, Yakuza.
my favorite character Yakuza. Uh Yusuke laying in bed with Joker that night he stays the night with Joker. And he's wondering, he's like having like daydreams about crabs, and he's like, I wonder god, what the fuck, it's been so long since I've seen some of those. uh I wonder what the crabs would do if they didn't have claws, or like he'd be like thinking too hard about it, basically. Like, what would crabs do if they didn't have their claws?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Mamma Mia is
Yusuke's a
just kind of like staring at him with like a death stare and being like, "Go to sleep."
for the love of God, please, Yusuke.
Go to sleep, you bastard.
Do you remember all those months ago we had the melting pot? Yusuke, please, for the love of God, it's 4 o'clock in the morning.
I have school in like 3 hours.